First of all, I want to thank Liz for taking this issue on. One of the problems that we've had, and we do currently have, is having a politician with guts enough to stand up and say, hey, we need to address the issue.
Yes.
What we've had is a real problem in the legislature with this issue about having people that are willing to stand up and look at the greater good of all kind of a concept. I followed this through the legislature because we've had a bill that we've been trying to get passed that would get the two states hopefully to talk and set up a format so that we would be able to proceed to get some kind of solution to this. And the reality of the politics in terms of small mines, and it's not my idea, it's your idea, I'm not going to share. We were functioning with 2-year-olds, I swear. And so when we're looking at electing people, we need people like Liz that have guts enough to stand up, take the long-term look. That's what we're talking about here. These are ideas, long-term look and planning. Like Liz said, I'm an engineer, and yep, where's this? Is this the magic one? Okay, got it. So anyway, one of the issues that we've had is this thing about getting people to get politicians that'll take that long-term look, because we don't have, currently we do not have any long-term plan, like Bill was saying. We don't have anybody out there planning. Like Liz said, when WSDOT's head guy says we don't plan, it's like, okay, now who's in charge here? And if you go to RTC, or if you're not familiar with this RTC or JPAC jargon, what happened is in the old days we had a transportation commission. So like with the Glenn Jackson Bridge, we had the Transportation Commission Oregon's got with Washington. We sat down, did a 15-page agreement. 15-page agreement, one drawing. Had an agreement, build a bridge. That's how it worked. I mean, and now we can't, the paper is unbelievable. 15 pages. So what happened is they, in the political reality of today, everybody has to be involved. So they broke out all of these regions to have their local planning groups, and these local planning groups have a lot of power. They're the ones that say which federal monies get used where, but they're not typically elected, the members of that group. So what we've got is a separation of funding over here with the legislature, and then we've got these transportation supposedly planning groups over here of local folks. And it's great to have that local input, no question. But the problem is we don't have, they're not tied, so we don't have funding tied to planning. So again, we're back to a problem. And another issue we have in Oregon and Washington, land use planning is separated from the state highway plan. So there's no coordination between our freeway systems and our highway systems, state highway systems, and land use planning. We're just cut off there. You would think that would be a key part of any kind of a planning organization, is to have that you've got all your pieces. So we have cities out here approving, hundreds and thousands of houses, but no coordination with the state to say, okay, we need a new highway here, or in reality what should happen is the city should say, okay, we're not going to build out here until we have the infrastructure. They don't build if they don't have sewer, they don't build if they don't have water, but hey, guess what? We can build away all we want to and flood the freeways. So that's actually an issue that should be addressed in the legislature, is to connect those two. I have no idea why they were never connected. It was probably an issue of local control. This solution I'll talk a little bit about now was just a way to get something going now, quickly. How do we get this, how do we get a solution here to get some more capacity on the bridge? And one of the biggest issues that I'm talking about here is the seismic stability of that bridge. So if we have the shaker, not if, when we have the shaker that's predicted, the old bridge will probably come down. And when it does, there's I don't know whether you know it or not, but on the far end down there, there's a lift span with the concrete weights. Well, the structure that holds that up there is not adequate to support that concrete. So it'll be like a guillotine when the shaker comes, and it'll take the bridge out, and the bridge wouldn't be easy to replace. Also, there's two bridges there. One was built 100 years ago, the other one was built 50 years ago. But when they built the new one in the 50s, they remodeled the old one, and when they remodeled it, they weakened it in reality, because there's some splices now in the columns that are probably no way in the world seismically stable. So you're going to see pretty much the whole bridge will come down. And that doesn't speak to the fact that it's on wooden piling, the old bridge is at least, and we're not sure exactly how good they are. So one of my big key issues is we're going to destroy our economy if that earthquake, when that earthquake comes, because we won't have a bridge to get people across. Because if you've got all the people, you're plugged up now with two bridges, guess what? When you have one bridge, what are you going to have? So now you've got a major disaster in terms of the economics. So there's a real reason to want to replace this bridge. When I looked at this, the orange up here is the CRC, and then this is the CRC design too. What they were trying to do was to bring light rail in to Vancouver, and it was a metro program. And the design issues they were facing were the light rail stops right here, right now. They've got an overcapacity interchange here in Marine Drive, and they've also got overcapacity here in Hayden Island. The ramps are inadequate in these locations to accommodate the traffic. You also have that same issue down here, though, in Clark County. So I was looking at a way to get around this, and so what I was proposing was basically a flyby. So we would come off you can see the alignment here. This makes too much sense, I guess, to have a straight alignment versus this convoluted design. But the reason they did that was they had light rail over here. So they were trying to bring the light rail in and keep the bridge on this side to accommodate the light rail. What was interesting about that, I met with the Dean of Engineering for Oregon State University. He's a seismic expert, and he was asked to sit on a panel to review the potential design of the CRC, and it was not buildable. There were 20 engineers, and they said it was not buildable. It was a design never done in the world, and it was not buildable. The other part of it was in terms of financing, and never had a financing plan. So the CRC was never a project. It was not a project ever. And so, you know, people say, well, they want to go back and revisit that. Well, good luck with it, because it's not there. The other thing they were trying to do is to make accommodate the light rail and car traffic. And there were two uses. They have two different designs. They're, you know, it's like mixing oil and water. There was no good to come out of that. In terms of this design, we're talking about probably $1 billion to build a bridge and $500 million to do all of the environmental impacts and everything else. The idea, long-term idea then would be, I do not think from everything that I've been able to put together from ODOT that this bridge is economically salvageable. It would be nice to keep it, but I don't think that's in the cards given the seismic issues and the age of the bridge. So we would probably end up with a local at-grade bridge here to accommodate local traffic in the long term. But in the short term, we'd keep the old bridge and then have the bypass here. There were a couple of other issues. We got Pearson Air Park over here too, so you've got an airspace issue on this end. Your channel's shallow, so it's relatively speaking a cheaper bridge to build because you're a 14-foot channel out there. So most people don't realize this is really shallow in here. This short distance in here causes a lot of problems for ramps. That island's just too narrow, and so there's some real issues to address there. The Marine Drive, they built on top of one old design on top of another, and now they've got spaghetti in there, which makes it really difficult. So getting back to how to pay for this. So now we've got Oregon that's essentially broke. They've got $1 trillion worth of potential liabilities out there. They just announced this week that they're going to go for an $8.4 billion transportation package, which barely touches the issues that need to be addressed. 8.4 billion. So we're dealing with a partner over there that's broke in reality. So we look at options that might come forward, and neither legislature put the Columbia River crossing in their bill. This new transportation package they're proposing in Oregon does not have the Columbia River crossing in it, does not have an I-5 crossing in it. And when Washington did their tax thing, a year ago, they didn't put it in either. So neither state is stepping up to the plate. That's how bad it is politically. We have some potentials for a private-public partnership that might be looked at. I know Linda over here is working on some of that stuff, but with our new administration and the Trump administration, one of the things they're looking at is private-public partnerships to do these kind of infrastructure. So in the short term, that's the only hope that we're going to go anywhere. In the long term is, my current feeling today is I'll never see a new bridge in my lifetime anywhere on the Columbia because of the political climate. So that's how, like Bill was talking about you folks are the ones that are going to make this change. It's not going to happen. You've got to elect the right people like Liz to be able to get this done. And that's all I have.